Hey man, when she first leaves, it feels like the entire world collapses. Every conversation replays in your mind. Every memory stings like a fresh wound. And the silence, her absence, feels louder than anything you've ever heard. You tell yourself, this is it. She's gone. She's never coming back. And in that despair, you start believing the lie that her decision is final, that her feelings are permanent, that the bond you shared has evaporated forever. But here's what you don't understand yet. Women live in emotional cycles, not in permanent states. What feels absolute today can feel entirely different tomorrow. Just as she once swore she would never leave and still did, she can just as easily swear she will never return and yet show up again. Her emotions are real in the moment, but they are never fixed. And if you base your sanity on her words in the heat of emotion, you will torture yourself with illusions that aren't even real. When a woman leaves, she often convinces herself she's done for good. She'll tell her friends, I'm finished. I can't go back. He's not what I need. She may even convince you directly, using words sharp enough to cut you down, designed to make her decision feel unshakable. But brother, those words are not rooted in timeless truth. They're rooted in the intensity of her current feelings. And feelings change. They shift with time, with distance, with reflection. What she feels today in anger or disappointment won't be what she feels a month from now, when silence echoes and new options don't live up to her expectations. That's why so many men are blindsided when women return after swearing they never would, because men take words literally, while women live through emotion, and emotion doesn't obey logic. It ebbs, it flows, it contradicts itself. So before you assume she'll never come back, remember this: her final words are rarely final. Here's another truth you must hold close. Absence has a way of reshaping memory. When she's with you, she sees your flaws up close. She feels the weight of your mistakes, the frustrations of the daily grind, the imperfections that come with being human. But once she leaves, distance does something strange. It filters memory. The sharp edges fade, and the moments of laughter, intimacy, and connection start shining brighter in her mind. Suddenly, the man she walked away from doesn't seem so unbearable. Suddenly, the things she overlooked begin to look valuable again. And that's when regret creeps in. Not always loudly, not always immediately, but silently, slowly, when she realizes that the fantasy world she thought she'd find outside doesn't match the reality. And it's in that space of regret that many women circle back, not because you chased, not because you begged, but because time itself made her remember what she once dismissed. But here's the key: whether she comes back or not depends less on her emotions and more on your response to her absence. If you chase, beg, plead, and lose yourself, you confirm her decision. You validate her belief that leaving was the right choice. But if you hold steady, if you protect your peace, if you continue building your life as if she never existed, you become magnetic. Because nothing shakes a woman more than realizing she left and you didn't collapse. She expected you to spiral. She expected you to chase. She expected you to prove her importance by falling apart without her. But when you do the opposite, when you remain calm, collected, focused, her mind replays that over and over, and slowly doubt creeps in. Did I misjudge him? Did I overestimate my importance? Did I lose something more valuable than I thought? That doubt, brother, is what pulls her back faster than any text you could ever send. So before you think she's never coming back, understand this: her departure isn't always the end. Many times it's a test of your strength, your stability, your ability to stand as a man without her. Women walk away for different reasons, sometimes to punish, sometimes to test, sometimes because they truly believe they're done. But no matter the reason, their emotions rarely stay fixed. And if you can survive that silence without breaking, if you can prove to yourself, not to her, that your life is bigger than her absence, you flip the dynamic completely. Suddenly, the man she thought she could walk away from becomes the man she starts to miss. Suddenly, her certainty crumbles, and she begins to wonder if she underestimated you. And in that moment of wonder, the power shifts back into your hands. That's why you must never assume her exit is final, because often it's the very path that leads her back. One of the biggest reasons you must not panic when she leaves is because most women don't walk away into reality, they walk away into fantasy. In her mind, leaving you isn't just leaving you, it's stepping into a new life she's imagined. Maybe she thinks the next man will give her more attention, more excitement, more validation. Maybe she thinks single life will be filled with freedom, adventure, and endless options. Whatever the case, she's not leaving you for what exists. She's leaving you for what she feels might exist. And the truth about fantasy is that it almost always disappoints. Reality never matches the perfection of her imagination. So while you're suffering in silence, believing she'll never come back, she's out there chasing a dream that will eventually crumble. And when it does, her mind drifts back to what was real. You. The stability, the loyalty, the consistency, the very things she overlooked in search of excitement. And here's the irony, the man she runs to rarely compares to the man she left. Because men she meets after you don't carry the same history, the same sacrifices, the same investment. At first the newness excites her, it feels like freedom, it feels like possibility. But over time she begins to notice what's missing. The way you knew her moods without words, the way you protected her without asking, the way your presence gave her a sense of safety, she didn't appreciate until it was gone. These realizations creep in slowly, often when she least expects it, when she's lying in bed beside someone who doesn't care the way you did, or when she's scrolling through social media remembering the moments you created together. That's when the ache begins, the subtle pull of regret. And brother, that's when she starts thinking of returning, not because you begged, but because absence made her see what she threw away. The silence after she leaves can feel unbearable, but silence is your greatest ally. You see, women expect noise after a breakup. They expect texts, calls, long messages begging them to reconsider. They expect you to chase, to fight for them, to prove your devotion. And when you don't, when you fall silent instead, you flip the script completely. Suddenly, the story she told herself about you crumbles. She thought you couldn't live without her. She thought you'd crumble. She thought she was the center of your world. But when you go silent, she begins to question, does he not care? Did I misjudge his feelings? Did I matter less to him than I thought? That doubt eats at her far more than any words you could send. Silence makes her replay everything in her mind, makes her feel the absence of your presence, and makes her wonder if she truly lost something she may never find again. This is why the worst mistake you can make when she leaves is to try to force her return. The harder you chase, the faster she runs, because your chase confirms what she already believes, that she is the prize, that she is the center, that her leaving destroyed you. And no woman desires what she already controls. But when you hold your frame, when you stay focused on your mission, when you treat her exit as just another event in life, you become untouchable. You send a message without words. You are never my world, you are part of it, but not the center, and I will continue without you. That message, brother, shakes her far more than begging ever could, because it proves strength, and women are drawn to strength, even if they resist it. The more you refuse to chase, the more likely she is to reconsider everything she thought she knew about you. So before you think she's never coming back, remember this, women often return, not because of what you do, but because of what you don't do. You don't collapse, you don't beg, you don't chase, you don't lose yourself. Instead, you stand tall, you keep building, you keep living, and while she's out there chasing fantasy, you're rooted in reality. Eventually, she will compare, and reality always wins. She will compare the thrill of temporary attention to the peace of lasting stability. She will compare the surface-level affection of new men to the depth of what you gave her. She will compare the fantasy she imagined to the life she abandoned, and in those comparisons, she begins to regret. That regret is what pulls her back, not because you fought for her, but because you refused to fight against yourself. That's the secret. She's more likely to come back when you've already proven you don't need her to. Another reason you must not collapse when she leaves is because women often return out of jealousy. You see, when she walks away, she expects you to sit in silence, lost and broken, unable to move forward. She imagines you lying awake at night, replaying her name, stalking her page, living in the shadow of what she took from you. And when she finds out you're not, that you're out living, building, laughing and thriving, it shakes her world, especially when she sees other women notice you, when she hears whispers of your progress, when she feels replaced in a position she thought she owned forever. Jealousy ignites something deep inside her. Suddenly she feels the loss in her bones, not because of who you were when she left, but because of who you became in her absence. And brother, that's when the chase flips, not you chasing her, but her quietly trying to find her way back to you. You must also understand that when women leave, they often test you even from a distance. She may block you, then unblock you. She may check your stories, like your posts, send a casual message, not because she's truly decided to return, but because she wants to see if you're still there, waiting like a loyal pet at the door. And this is where most men fail. They pounce the second she shows an inch of attention, pouring out emotions, trying to convince her to come back. But all that does is confirm her power over you. If you want her back, and more importantly, if you want her respect, you must not take the bait. You must remain calm, unshaken, unmoved by her tests. Show her that your life didn't stop because she left. Show her that her curiosity doesn't control you. And when she realizes you're not waiting at the door anymore, that's when her tests turn into regret. The most powerful tool you have when she leaves is transformation. Not words, not explanations, not promises. Transformation. Women may walk away from you because they got bored, because they thought they knew everything about you, because they believed you had no more growth ahead. But nothing shakes a woman more than seeing you evolve after she's gone. When she sees the man she left becoming stronger, sharper, more disciplined, more successful, it forces her to confront her choice. Suddenly, the man she dismissed as ordinary has become extraordinary. And here's the truth. Women rarely forget the men they once loved. That memory lingers, and when it collides with your transformation, it creates a storm of regret inside her. She begins to think, did I leave too soon? Did I underestimate him? Did I give up the very man I always wanted? And brother, those questions don't let her sleep at night. But you must also prepare yourself, because when she does return, she won't make it obvious. Women rarely crawl back openly. Instead, they reappear subtly. An innocent message, a sudden coincidental meeting, a casual question about your life. Why? Because her pride won't let her admit regret outright. She doesn't want to look weak. She doesn't want to confess that leaving was a mistake. So she'll test the waters first. And this is where your strength must be greater than ever. If you rush to welcome her back, she'll know she still controls you. If you remain grounded, detached, and slow to open the door, she'll feel the shift. She'll realize she no longer holds the same position in your world. And that shift is what makes her chase harder, respect deeper, and treat you differently if she re-enters. Brother, never make her return easy. Make her earn her way back into the kingdom she once abandoned. So before you think she's never coming back, let me tell you this. Women leave for feelings, but they often return for reality. The fantasy she chased won't last. The validation she sought outside will fade. The thrill of new attention will wear off, and when it does, she will compare everything to you. She will remember your strength, your presence, your devotion, things she may not have valued at the time, but will value when they're gone. And the deciding factor won't be whether you begged or chased. It will be whether you transformed. Did you grow stronger in her absence? Did you build a life so rich that her absence barely left a dent? Did you rise into the kind of man she didn't think you could become? If the answer is yes, then she will feel the sting of regret so deeply that silence itself will pull her back. That's the secret, brother. Her return isn't about her, it's about who you become without her. One of the greatest paradoxes you'll ever witness is this. The very moment you stop chasing her is often the moment she begins to chase you. You see, women are fueled by ego as much as they are by emotion. When she leaves, she expects to remain the center of your universe. She imagines you sitting by the phone, waiting for her return, hoping she changes her mind. But when you don't, when you keep living, keep building, keep shining without her, her ego takes a hit. She begins to wonder, why isn't he chasing me? Did I not matter? Has he already replaced me? And brother, those questions haunt her. Because while she may not have loved you enough to stay, she still wants to feel irreplaceable. And when she realizes she isn't, when she sees that your life is richer without her, that's when her ego becomes her enemy, and her pride battles with her desire to return. This is why your indifference is more powerful than any words you could ever speak. Begging tells her she still owns you. Anger tells her she still controls you. Silence tells her she no longer matters the way she thought she did. And it's that silence that cuts the deepest. Because in her world, men crumble when women leave. In her world, men chase, plead, and fight for another chance. But when you refuse to play that role, when you show her that your life doesn't revolve around her absence, you stand apart from every man she's ever known. That indifference burns hotter in her chest than your devotion ever did. It forces her to confront the truth that she overestimated her importance. And when a woman feels she has lost power over you, she begins to crave it again. That craving pulls her back, not because of love, but because of the magnetic pull of your strength. Another reason women return after leaving is because no one else gives them the same combination of familiarity and challenge. New men may give her excitement for a while, but they don't understand her history, her quirks, her moods. Old flames may comfort her, but they don't inspire her to grow. You, however, you gave her both. You gave her safety and challenge, affection and boundaries, love and resistance, and though she may not have appreciated it at the time, she'll feel the absence of it when she's gone. She'll realize that the men she thought were upgrades are simply different flavors of disappointment, and that realization stings, because women hate to admit they were wrong. They hate to admit they left something valuable behind, but regret has a way of silencing pride over time. And when her pride finally cracks, she comes back, not because she planned to, but because the weight of what she lost becomes unbearable. But you must understand this, her return is never about her, it's about you, because whether she comes back or not, your focus should never be on waiting, it should be on becoming. When you grow, when you elevate, when you transform, you shift the power forever. If she comes back to a stronger, sharper, more disciplined man. And if she doesn't, you still win, because your life is richer without her. That's the secret most men miss. They obsess over her absence instead of using it as fuel. They cry over the silence instead of embracing it as space to grow. But the men who flip that pain into progress, they win, whether she returns or not. And ironically, it's that very progress that makes her want to return. Because nothing unsettles a woman more than realizing the man she left behind is now the man every woman desires. So before you think she's never coming back, ask yourself this: even if she does, will she find the same man she left? Or will she find someone unrecognizable, stronger, wiser, untouchable? Because that's the true power in all of this. Not whether she returns, but who you become in her absence. Women often come and go like seasons, but your mission, your growth, your self-respect, that's eternal. When she left, she thought she ended your story. But the truth, she only wrote the prologue of your transformation. And if she returns, she will find a man who no longer needs her, who no longer bleeds for her, who no longer centers his world around her presence. That man doesn't just get women back, he makes them regret ever leaving. And that's why, brother, her exit is never the end. It's just the beginning of the man you were always meant to become. Here's the part no one tells you. Many times she does come back, but not in the way you imagined. She won't always return with open arms, admitting fault, begging forgiveness. No, most women return quietly, subtly, almost casually, as if nothing ever happened. She may send a message out of nowhere. Hey, how have you been? She may pop up in places she knows you'll be. She may drop breadcrumbs, likes on your photos, random check-ins, late-night calls, just to see if the door is still open. But this is not love, it's ego. It's her testing to see if she still has access to you. And here's where most men fail. They rush to reopen the door, giving her validation, proving she still owns them, and that kills respect instantly. If you want her to truly regret leaving, you must not give her the same man she walked away from. You must show her she lost the privilege of easy access. Another harsh truth: even when she comes back, she may not come back for love. She may come back for comfort. She may return because the fantasy didn't work out, because the men she tried to replace you with disappointed her, because life humbled her in ways she never expected. And while she may convince herself she misses you, often what she misses is the stability, the security, the loyalty you provided. But this is where your clarity matters most. If you've grown, if you've built, if you've transformed, you won't be blinded by her sudden attention. You'll see it for what it is, not a gift but a test. And if you handle it correctly by staying grounded, detached and focused, you'll flip the dynamic forever. Because nothing stings a woman more than realizing she came back and the man she left behind has outgrown her. That's when regret cuts deepest. That's when she feels the full weight of her choice. You must understand that closure is an illusion. Men often waste months, even years, waiting for that perfect moment when she explains everything, when she admits regret, when she tells you why she left and why she's come back. But that moment rarely comes. Women don't give closure because in their world, emotions are truth, and truth changes with time. What she said then and what she says now will never perfectly align. That's why waiting for closure is a trap. It keeps you chained to her narrative instead of living your own. The real closure is this: she left and you didn't die. She abandoned you and you kept living. She thought she ended your story, but you turned the page without her. That's the closure you need. Not her words, not her regret, but your own strength. Because once you realize you never needed her explanation to move forward, you're free. And here's the irony: by the time she truly regrets leaving, it's often too late. By the time her pride cracks, by the time her fantasies crumble, by the time she realizes you are rare, it's when you've already outgrown her. It's when you've already built a life so full, so rich, so grounded, that her return doesn't even tempt you anymore. That's the full circle moment for a man. The day you realize you don't even want back what once destroyed you. Because now you see clearly, she didn't just leave you, she left herself. She walked away from a man who was willing to give, to lead, to stand by her. And when she finally understands that, the regret she feels will be heavier than anything you ever carried. But by then, you'll be gone. Not bitter, not broken, just finished. Because a man who masters himself never circles back to the illusions that once chained him. So before you think she's never coming back, remember this, brother. Her words are not permanent, her emotions are not fixed, and her decisions are rarely final. She may come back tomorrow, or she may come back years later when you've already moved on, or she may never come back at all. But none of that matters because your power isn't in her return, it's in your response. Your strength lies in building a life so rich, so purposeful, so grounded, that whether she stays, leaves, or returns, you remain unshaken. That's the lesson too many men learn too late. She is not your destiny. She is a chapter, not the book. And once you grasp that truth, you'll never fear her absence again. You won't wait by the door, you won't beg for closure, and you won't live in hope, because you'll understand that a man's true victory isn't in her return, it's in his rise. Always choose the rise, brother. Always.